Welcome. My name is James Barber. I'm your Oregon Cash Flow Pro. In this video, I'm going to update you on our NVDA long call, the covered calls that we're selling against that, and also some other positions that we're in that are very similar. So we're tracking 4 different long positions that we're earning weekly income or monthly income selling against them. Let's start with NVIDIA. You can check out the prior video where I got into these positions. You can check that out up there. We'll link that up there. But essentially, we got into NVIDIA back on January 27th. We are using a leap as a substitute for the shares, so we don't have to put out quite so much money. We would have had to spend $12,000 to buy 100 shares. Instead, we bought the 85 strike call option expiring in 2 years for $5,420. We immediately sold the 130 strike call, which, if that expired worthless, would have been the equivalent of 122% annual return. So meaning if we can do this every week, if we can get $128 every week, that would earn us 122% against this. We would make more than that 5,420 over the course of a year. Now, actions we've taken since that first video. On the 31st, this was the expiration date of the first option that we sold. We bought to close it for $5. We always recommend buying to close instead of letting it expire worthless. There's a couple of reasons we do that. Basically, you buy to close it so that something that happens right after close will not affect whether this call that we sold gets exercised or not. That could be detrimental to our position. And the other reason is, at some point throughout the day we sold that, there could have been a good opportunity that if the share price shot up, we could enter into another position prior to the end of the day. Now, we did end up entering another position. I don't remember what time it was. Could have been fairly shortly after that happened. But we sold the 132 for $107. Oh, let me explain what these numbers are. I have this yellow because this is the projected annualized profit if we got the full 128. This is the actual annualized percent profit since we had to sell that back for $5. So we take that minus that, and then we divide it into this, multiply that out 52 weeks for the year, and that gets us the percent. So same thing happens here. This is the projected annualized profit when we opened that position. Now, NVIDIA really went down over the weekend because of the tariffs that were instituted. And so when the market opened on February 3rd, which is today, we bought back that call. So we basically held this overnight, and we went from 102% down to a 52% return. Not too bad for an overnight position, but the stock price did really drop over that time period. We're ignoring that. We're ignoring whatever the value of our original long call is to begin with. When we first bought it, the shares actually shot up, and this went up by like $600 or $700. Could have sold it right then, but we didn't. We're opting to do this for income. This is a purposeful strategy where ultimately we should be able to end up with quite a bit more money than just $600 or $700 making the one trade. We should be able to make money whether NVIDIA goes up or down, as long as it doesn't go down too much. So we bought that back, and then my expectation was NVIDIA would go back up and we'd be able to resell. It did kind of go back up, and it went up enough that I felt comfortable reselling, but I didn't want to sell back at the 132 because I wanted to collect some more premium, and I'm skeptical that we're going to run up quite that far before the end of this week. So we sold the 127 for $93, which represents an 89% return. In total, we've brought in $328 on the ones that we sold, and the ones we bought, I have this plus this plus this. So those are going to be added up here, and the ones we sold are going to be added up here. Total profits to date, we've got everything that we bought minus everything that we sold. We're at 5,149. So we started at 5,420. We are less than 2 weeks into this effort, and we're down to 5,149 as our net for this position so far. Hopefully that all makes sense. We're moving on to the next one. If you have any questions about it, put it in the comment section below, and I'm happy to explain further. Next position, we have AI. We got into that at 15.55. We bought the 22.5 strike for 1555 back on January 27th. This expires January 15th, 2027. And we sold the 34. That represented, that $28 we got for that represented a 93% annualized return. We bought it back for $3, bringing our net annualized return down to 83%. And then we sold another one for 29. The very next day, that's today, because the whole market crashed due to the tariffs, we bought it back for $10. Now, we ended up rolling the strike price up and selling it again later in the day. The stock price did rebound a little bit, and so we sold it for $35. This is our best return to date, but it also is the closest in strike price to where the share price is. But 117 is our projected annualized return. Down here's our totals: 1,568, all calls bought, calls sold, $92. Total profits, minus 1476. So this is what we have to make up, and we have 2 years to do it by selling these calls. Next up, GME. GME took a big drop today. I should have waited a little bit longer. I bought back the call that I sold basically first thing in the morning, and I should have waited. I thought it was going to bounce back like the rest of the market did, and it did not happen. So we bought it back. I have yet to sell another one yet. I'm hoping GME bounces back tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll probably just move the strike price and see if we can collect some premium for the rest of this week. You can see what we've been doing. 1143 was our long position. That's the 20 strike, expiring in a year. We only have 1 year for this one. We sold the 39. That represents 122% annualized return. Bought it back for 7, bringing the actual annualized return to 100%. Then we sold the 34. That would have represented 154% return, but we bought it back for 16, giving the actual at 56. Totals down below. Calls bought, 1166. Calls sold, $73. We're at 1,093 out of pocket so far. We have 1 year to make that up. And I suspect we'll be able to do that. I'm pretty confident in it, actually. And our last position, this is bros. This isn't a long call. This is a long put. We actually bought the 55 strike put, expiring in 2 years. We paid $14.20 for it. We sold a put. This one I can only sell monthly. So we sold it for the $70, which represents a 59% annualized return. Sold the 50 strike price. Now we still have a ways to go on this one. This one doesn't expire until the 21st of this month, so we don't anticipate any updates prior to that. Currently, the stock price has been climbing since we bought this put. So it's a good thing we're selling these in order to bring in some income. And it also gives me the ability to ride this out. There was a big drop when the tariffs came into play, but it recovered really fast, surprisingly. So we'll see what plays out with the tariffs and if this can hang on. But the reason I entered the put position on this one to begin with was because I figured this would probably get hit if we end up in some type of a recession in the next 2 years. So we'll see how this one ends up playing out, but I don't think that I'm going to have much trouble recouping the cost of this put by selling other puts. That's all I've got for you today. If you got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Happy to help you out. Talk to you again soon.
Hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and the whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time.
Now go maximize your cash flow.